Hi guys, my name is Nikelwa and I am the school coordinator for the Africa United School Club. Today we'll be talking about the challenges that youth face when moving back to school during the pandemic, during the taxi violence, and during a time where they weren't at school for 14 days and more. So we're going to be talking about the school climate. How's the relationship there? How are learners affected? How are teachers affected? How's the environment? And how's the absenteeism rate? Okay, just to throw it to you guys, can you just quickly introduce yourselves before we get into all of this?
Greetings to everyone. My name is Nikelwa Mqwabalala and I'm in Masbamba Senior Secondary School. I'm doing grade 12 and I'm the Vice President of Africa Unite. So I like the topic so much because I feel like as school learners, I think we needed to engage in a topic like this because not everyone speaks about that. People are worried about the economy. The economy is going to drop, but not a lot of people think for us, like what are we feeling psychologically. So I like the topic.
All right, thank you, Ntandokazi. Yes, indeed, a lot of people are talking about the economy and how it's affecting people's employment, but how it's affecting the classroom is what we want to find out today. Okay, can we have a next participant? Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Chinokaramombe, and I go to Rosunda High, and I'm apparently in grade 9. And as I see this topic about how the climate is affecting us, as for me, by my school, I see that it's really affecting us in a bad way because our school is very small. There's too much closure. So yeah, I'm very interested in this topic and I see it's gonna be fun.
All right, okay, then guys, tell me, how do you feel about being back to school? And how do you think other learners feel about being back to school on just a feelings perspective?
Because I'm doing grade 12, I feel like being back to school is good because at least the schools are opened. At least now we're going to run towards finishing the syllabus. But the PPEs part, when I was watching Minister Angie Museka speaking about this, she said that schools are going to be given PPEs. But in my school, we haven't received those. And when we got to school Tuesday, there were no sanitizers. We had to wash our hands. Like we had soap and then we have to open the tap and wash your hands. It was a long queue because no one is used to that and people were late. I was the first one to arrive in my class, but I left home early. So we didn't get our PPEs and some people can't even afford to buy masks. In my brother's school, they said that if a child comes to school without wearing a mask, they're going to get fined. What's happening like generally is unfair. So you should think of what's happening in the classroom because it's not like they split it us like to half the class like they did last year when the virus was starting. Now everyone is there. It's like the 40 of us. In my class, we are 37 and it's everyone. And then when the teacher is there, yes, we do like follow the regulations. But the moment she goes out, I go to my friend, sit on top of her desk, take off my mask, we talk, we share food. Like it's easily spreaded. It flows easily.
Okay, so it's not as safe now. Like the school environment, it's not safe. Not everybody has the mask, or you don't feel like the learners and the teachers are prepared. Is that what I'm getting, Antanokazi?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so another question that I want to ask you guys: how's the teachers? How are they handling all of this? How's their spirits when it comes to coming back to school?
So the teachers, yeah, they're good, although they're like putting more pressure on us to finish the work. But yeah, we're coping. I think we're getting used to this thing of learning fast. Like we have to cram a lot of information in a short period of time, and then our timetable, today we write maths, the following day we write physics, the other day we write life sciences, or they just put languages in between. I don't know. But the teachers some of them are cool, but some of them ain't cool. It depends on which teacher it is and what are they teaching.
All right. Can I just find out from you, Lisa, in terms of the attendance, a lot of learners either are coming to school or they're not coming to school as much as they did back for COVID. So I want to know from you which is taking place. Are they coming to school more or less of them not coming to school? And also, according to your opinion and your observation in your school, what is the cause of them either coming to school more or them not attending school as often as they should? What's affecting that behavior?
The attendance of my school is very low. Children don't mostly like come to school. Some of them come some days and some don't even come some weeks. And in my class, sometimes we are 26 and sometimes you're only 11 in the class, like the whole week or the whole term. And some learners, they basically like leave the school because of some reasons. They complain because the school, they don't know how to like manage, how some children, they don't like the rules in the school and how they are treating them as the COVID regulations. So I see that some children, they're like moving to other schools here in Delft because they see that other schools, they like go 1 week, but our school, we go different days. So some children, they don't like it and they end up like leaving the school and not liking it. And in my school, there's a lot of bad things happen. So most of the learners don't come because of those situations in the school.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you, Lisa, a lot of learners are not coming because of the stricter measures that are applied at the school. So schools are being stricter. There are more rules now, and there's strictness in terms of people adhering to those rules. And because of that, some learners are not, they're hesitant about coming to school because of that. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Okay, so what else I want to know from you guys is in terms of work, the lessons that you guys have and everything. Do you think it's still the same? Are you getting the same quality of education you were getting before COVID, or it has changed somehow?
As for me, I see that they have changed totally way out because right now we like get so much work, like each and every subject we get work, and sometimes we are so timed out that we have to like get done with each and every work, but we don't have the time. So I see that the way things were before, they're much better because we're going to school every day. And now since we are like going different days, we get so much work that we can't even finish up. And since this thing that we closed up school before we had done with our examination, it was very tough that now we open school to rewrite again from over. So this thing, it have affected us in a bad way because not all children can like remember everything that they to revise from the last term. So it's kind of difficult. So I see that the way we are learning right now is totally different than the way we were learning before.
On my opinion, I feel like the teachers are doing all they can, because as much as like they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so they be like, let's give us what we have today, so that even if tomorrow doesn't come, at least you sort it for the next day. So they make sure they push us to an extent that we'll be able to work under pressure. They're doing all they can do so that even if something happens tomorrow, like even if they close, like they're not at fault.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, the school environment has changed in a great way, and it would have an impact on you guys some way or the other. Okay, so what I want to find out from you guys now is what suggestions would you, if you were, say, a principal of your school, how would you ensure that attendance does not drop? How would you make learners more comfortable with the stricter rules that are in place now? And how would you maintain the level of education that learners have in terms of not overburdening them with excessive workload? How would you guys manage those responsibilities if you are in a position of authority?
If I were to be the school principal, I would do some of the things that my principal is doing, which is allowing other programs from outside the school to come and help our children, like Africa Unite. Because if Africa Unite was in there, we have this self-session that we always have on Wednesdays. Pina, you get a chance to like talk about how you feel, how are your emotions, how you've been feeling for the rest of the week, and that helps. So I think if I were to be the principal, there'll be like psychologists or people who are good with a human brain or just with emotions, We can like help my learners. So whenever they feel like giving up, I just be there. And then besides, I'll make sure that learning doesn't like occur in the classroom and then it ends there. Make sure that when they go home, they get data so that they can be able to do learning online, which is using visuals like Zoom, the Zoom app. And as for the dropping out and the absenteeism, I'll try and I'll try each and every day to make use of the intercom. That I make sure that there's one code each and every day that I know is a motivation to me, so that if it motivates me, it can also motivate them. It might not motivate all of them, but some will be motivated, and those that are motivated are the ones that are going to help the others. So I'll make sure that before anything else, psychologically they're fine. And then as for their studies, as I've said, I'll make use of the Zoom apps and the other stuff, so that even if they're at home and they don't understand work, they can later on call their teachers, be in the session, and then they understand things quickly, because now even the periods are short. The periods have been shortened, so you don't have, even if it's that 1 hour, you don't get a chance to ask. The teacher comes and explain in your book. You don't get that because it's COVID. So one thing that COVID has taught us for sure is to be selfish. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Ndanogazi. Lisa, not anything on your end?
As for me, if I was the principal, I also have to like make effort to make learners feel interested in coming into school. Even though it's COVID-19, we just have to try to manage and put everything in together. And as Tanukazi say, to bring like psychologists, social workers, to just give the learners more, to feel more comfortable to still attend school. Because nowadays learners don't like feel like they want to come to school because they see the school is boring, but still we can try to manage even though the work is much, but everyone knows that we are going through a hard time with the COVID-19. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, now for the last question, what last comments or what would you like to share in terms of going back to school and the challenges you guys are facing in terms of taxi violence, in terms of the pandemic, in terms of habits and just disciplinary things?
What I wanna say is that the taxi drivers are costing us. They're also costing themselves in a way, because now what they're doing, and first of all, they're not being good role models to us. And what they're doing is, I don't know, I feel like it's childish. I feel like they're old enough, because you wouldn't see a taxi owner at the age 20 or 30. They're in their 40s, they're old. It's very rare to find them. So what they're doing, it's not cool. What my query is that now they're putting other vehicles in their problems, because now we can't Uber, we can't go to town. We need groceries, we need to go to town, and we can't use even our cars, because there was this guy who went to town with his whole family. They followed him back home, and when he got home, and they were like, well, where is he coming from? He's like, I want to buy groceries with my family. It's like, and then they were like, the next time you go buy groceries, it must be you and your wife or you and your child, but it must only be the two of you in a car. So now, okay, it's like we're living in their life, we're living in their world. We have to do what they're doing. If they want to fight, then we don't have a problem, but they shouldn't include us in their fight. We will continue. The world won't stop just because taxi drivers wanna be in a war. But as for my last comment, I would like to say that first, I'd like to thank the opportunity that I was able to share my views, and I hope that the people who are listening will not just listen, but try and make an impact to like people who are like in places who can help other schools. Because my school, if we're having a problem in my school, what about the other schools, like the schools in Eastern Cape? Like we're in Cape Town, we're having problems. What about the schools in the rural areas? So it's like so unfair on the children, and even on radios, even on televisions, they should know that we also matter. Not only the grade 12s, but the school going learners as a whole, we do matter and we do have feelings. It hurts. Going to school every day, yes, is good for us because we grade 12s are going to school every day. But what about the grade 8s, the grade 9s, the grade 10s?
All right, thank you, Ndandokazi. Lisa, is there any closing sentiments that you could share with us? Thank you so much, Ndandokazi.
As for me, what I would like to say about this thing of the taxis, how they are affecting us as learners. As for me, my school is very far from my home. So basically, sometimes I take a taxi to go there, and sometimes I walk. But even though I walk, but not taking a taxi, sometimes the taxis here, especially here in Delft, they mostly do the shootings in the mornings, and that's the time when most of the learners are going to school, and it affects us in a bad way because most of the learners they all stay in Delft and we all walk, and they mostly do their gang fights near our school because our school is almost like near a taxi rank. So this thing's affecting us in a bad way that we can't even like go outside or anything. Sometimes here in Delft, they can even come on the main road and start shooting for 2 hours, and everyone had to be indoors and no one went out because they were shooting and violence was happening. So no one could even go outside. It was very hard for us that we had to stay 2 hours inside. And sometimes at night, at 8 o'clock, you can't even go out because that's the time they start doing all their things. But I see this is very fair because not all of us want to fight, and they're affecting everyone who the people are innocent. And through this taxi fight that's been happening, many innocent people have died because of this thing. Even a bus driver even got shot in Philippe because of this thing. So now everyone is just afraid to even take a bus or even a taxi. We don't know where we can be safe, even though we even go with our own private car. We don't know, they can just start any shooting anytime because they can just come by your car and ask you where you're going to, and they can just shoot you. So all I want to say is that this thing is affecting us, and if they could just do their fighting another place, but not where it can affect us as children. We know nothing. We don't know why they are fighting. We don't know the reasons why they are fighting. So this is affecting us as learners, and I just think that they could just do this in another way, to fight in another way, not in a violent way, because they must think about other people, how we feel, and how it can affect us. Many of our people that we know have died because of this thing. Some people went inside taxis and they never came back since these things have been starting. It affects us very much. Many people died because of these things. So yeah, that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. And indeed, it is a very, I'd say, uncomfortable time in South Africa. A lot of young people are affected by the challenges that South Africa, as well as most of the world, are affecting when it comes to the pandemic. And now there's also an add-on of the taxi violence. And while a lot of learners are still struggling to adapt to virtual learning, and they're still struggling to adapt to the amount of work they have to take home and do at home in a case when they are back at school. So indeed, it is a challenge for a lot of young people, and I would like to thank both of you for coming through today and being the voice of young people and voicing out your frustrations, the challenges, the root of those challenges, and how those are affecting you guys, and how we could get around to solving it as a collective. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for spending your time with us. And signing out, and this is Nikelwa Mqwabalala, FK Unite School Club Coordinator. Bye, guys.